Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now, Tuesday, December the 20th. Ian Cameron, and pleased to be joined today. Another special guest joining us. We've had a bunch of great guests, and we've got another with us here today. Over in Germany, DEL2 is where he's playing right now, the league over there in Germany. Pro hockey player Jacob Lagace joining me today on the Ice Guys show. Jacob, welcome to the Ice Guys show. Good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into the card, we'll get into, everything from a NHL perspective and an NHL betting perspective. We'll talk about the Jacob Lagace hockey journey. We always do that with our guests joining us for the first time. How you got into hockey, drafted by the team I cheered for growing up, the Buffalo Sabres. Just talk about how you got into hockey and how the journey has gone for you.
Yeah, I started for a Canadian kid quite late. I would say I was 7 years old when I started playing. So, of course, I played, street hockey before that, but organized hockey, I was 7. So I was kind of a late bloomer if I could compare myself to my buddies who started at like 2 or 3 on skates. But I loved it so much that I guess I was every time I could play outside or, then growing up, I went to high school, played every day, then played with my club on the evenings. That's really how I got started.
And definitely you ended up getting drafted by the Sabres, played in their organization for a few years, Portland, of course. Then they, of course, I think the affiliation of the team at the AHL level moved back to Rochester, so you were there after that for a little bit, and then you made your way over to Europe after that, and now in Germany with the DEL2 league. So how's the experience there right now in Germany, and how the league, the team you're on, and how's the lifestyle in Germany going for you?
Yeah, Germany is a good country to play. The fans are really intense. They have a little bit of that football or soccer culture that translate to hockey also. So they have those standing section in the stands where people are just chanting the whole game, and they have the drums and the flags, and so the atmosphere is very nice. And then I've been around Europe, a few different places, so every place is a little bit different, but Germany is one of the best for sure. And in terms of the level of play, for me, I'm going to be 33 soon, so I have less years ahead of me than I've played already. So I think it's a great balance of a good level of play, and also where with my experience and I can kind of navigate through games and have fun and play well, if I can say.
Exactly. And you feel you've still got, a few more good years left in you, right? Like you can go for at least another few years and still play, still enjoy the game, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, still feel I can legitimately contribute in an impactful way to any team I play for, right?
Yeah, of course, my way of approaching training and games have changed as I'm getting older. You do things differently, but for sure now I'm looking more into longevity than, going 100 miles an hour all the time and kind of overdoing it sometimes when you're younger, maybe not taking care of your body as well as you should. So now it's definitely things I focus more on, and so far so good. So if I can play a few more years, I'll keep it going until the body or the mind says it's enough. I need to move into something else.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I know you're expecting the birth of your first child coming up with you and the missus. So we wish you first congratulations, and we wish you all the best with that upcoming in the new year. That's got to be a thrill.
Yeah, it could arrive any day now. So it's due for January 7th. So yeah, I think we're ready to the next chapter in our life.
Yeah, and I honestly was very excited about Jacob joining us because of the Buffalo connection. Growing up a Sabres fan, very thrilled that he's joining us on the show. And I couldn't believe it when we were talking before the show. Jacob's got like at least one full page of notes that he's taken on the games that we're going to break down here on the Tuesday card. I mean, you came prepared, man. You've got notes, you've got stats, some trends, info that you're going to spit out there for every game on the board here, or at least several of them. I mean, you came well prepared just on preparation alone. A+ is the grade for you. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, you got a whole sheet there of basically notes that you prepared for this show. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, I wanted to be to your standards. I mean, you go through a lot of data, so I was like, I can't show up and not be prepared to be on the show with you. So yeah, I did what I could for at least 3 of the matchups that were most interesting to me for tonight.
Yeah, and Jacob will dabble in the betting board as well as you're about to find out, and definitely a good resource here to help us talk about the NHL games. Speaking of NHL, before we get into tonight's games specifically, you may not get to watch NHL every single night or every single day, or certainly not every single game over there, and of course the time difference. Jacob is 6 hours, of course, ahead of the Eastern time zone, being over there in Germany. But what you do get to watch and what you've seen and what you've read and all this stuff, just give me some overall thoughts from you on the NHL season to this point, some teams that have kind of impressed you, some teams that have disappointed, maybe in your opinion so far this year, players that are, you like watching, or players that have had a nice start to the season that you want to mention, anything NHL related that has stuck out to you in the first 2 months of the season. Here's your chance to tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, being from Montreal, the Canadians growing up were my team. And of course, with the season they had last year, I think everybody saw them in the bottom again. But for me, I mean, that's the team I will follow the closest in terms of maybe watching press conference or, being more informed about what's going on around the team. So I think for me, they're having a above expectation season so far. Of course, consistency is still a big issue for them, and the way they will lose games sometimes or blow a lead or something like that. But for me, I think there's a lot of good signs about this young group of guys, and hopefully they can keep improving this season and maybe bring in some other pieces to that puzzle so they can become a real contender team for the years to come.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely
then
going to take them time. The one thing, and I said this yesterday, they did get a nice win yesterday. We'll give them some credit. They beat Arizona in overtime. The concern for me, Jacob, is they got to upgrade the blue line. Either that or the young kids are going to really have to step up big time, because you look at the blue line, other than Joel Edmondson right now, you've got Caden Gooley, who's going to be good in time, but he's still very young. You got Jordan Harris, Johnny Kovacevic, Chris Weidman, who's more of a veteran guy, but he's been bounced around from team to team to team. He's been a traveling suitcase, essentially, all these years. And then, of course, someone I got to see here in Hamilton played for the Bulldogs in junior in the Ontario Hockey League, and I'm thrilled that he made the team for Montreal out of training camp. Arbor Jackeye, he is just a physical specimen, tower of power. Tall as fuck, tough as fuck as well. I mean, ready to drop the gloves at a moment's notice, stick up for teammates and all that. These are young guys that, again, you either have to get more experience, or you've got to give these guys the opportunity and the time to grow and learn and improve. I don't think you can bail on them just yet, but for the purposes of this season, they're going to have their rough nights defensively when you've got a blue line that young, that inexperienced. But this is where we're going to find out just how good the coaching potentially could be for Marty St. Louis. He's got a chance to maybe mold these defensemen, along with his coaching staff, mold these defensemen into solid, steady, stable NHL defensemen. We're going to find out if he can do it over the next couple of years.
yeah, I agree with you.
And
And then,
go
yeah,
ahead.
I mean, another surprise for me. I mean, I was going to talk about it later because it's in one of the matchups, but the New Jersey Devils had a unbelievable start to the season, or they had what, 16 wins in a row or something like that. I mean, they have a good core of young guys, but we never really heard of them in the last few years because they were, never really doing anything special and kind of struggling seasons. But yeah, I thought this year they were really surprising. Unfortunately, now I think they're on a 5-game losing streak, so I think they cooled off a bit, but I think they still really
16
have a
and
good.
1. 16 and 1 was the run for New Jersey at one point earlier this year. Incredible run, yeah.
So that was, for me, that was a big surprise in the early stage of the season. And yeah, I mean, other than that, I think the league is as every year getting better and better. You see these guys play, and what they can do on the ice is just so impressive. And it's good to see different teams doing well also than, the same. Boston, I thought, Patrice Bergeron was maybe retiring over the summertime, and now he ended up signing and, scored his 1,000 points recently, and then the team is on fire. So I think they're close to a franchise record on the home game record. So that tells something about the Boston Bruins. It might be their year. Who knows?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I honestly, and a lot of people in the hockey betting community really got Boston wrong at the beginning of the year, saying this is the year they're going to step back. This is the year they're going to decline. This is a year that they might not even make the playoffs. It's unbelievable how many times I heard people say that opinion. Even I said, I think they'll be in a fight just to make the playoffs. And yet here they are, just this incredible record they have this season. What's remarkable, Jacob, too, is that they started the season with a bunch of their key players out. Brad Marchand wasn't ready to go at the beginning of the season. They were missing Charlie McAvoy on the blue line. A couple other defensemen were out. They missed Carlo and Grzelcyk early in the season, multiple games, good defensemen, important minutes they play on the blue line for Boston. And yet they won games in spite of all those absences and that key personnel missing. And now that they've got everybody healthy, I mean, 25-4-2 in 31 games for the Boston Bruins. They still have yet to lose, Jacob, in regulation time on the home ice. 17 wins and 2 overtime or shootout losses at home this year for the Boston Bruins. So remarkable. They obviously did not hear the hockey betting world and the pundits and whatever say writing them off prior to this season, because they have responded, and certainly they're right in the mix to contend in the Eastern Conference, contend for the Stanley Cup the way they're playing right now. And they've gotten great goaltending out of Linus Ullmark. It bothers me as a Sabres fan. I watched Linus Ullmark all these years be, let's be honest, fucking mediocre with the Buffalo Sabres, although a lot of it was we didn't have a great team in front of him. And now he's got a much better team in front of him. And now to see him playing like this with the Boston Bruins, but you give him credit for it. He's found himself. He's fit in nicely with Boston. He's playing the best of his career right now as well for them.
Yeah, and I feel like the kind of the fire within the team, that my opinion is Patrice Bergeron. Like I said, he probably thought he was retiring. People thought he was leaving, and he decided to come back one more year, and he plays like it's his last year. And I feel like people feed off that, and it may be not only how he plays, but what he brings in the locker room and around the team. I feel like people play with a little bit of an extra edge for him.
No. Yeah, it's a great point. Definitely. Patrice Bergeron commands the respect of everybody, and it's not just his teammates; it's the opponents as well. For not just the way he plays, 200-foot game, two ways, both ends of the ice, offensively great, scoring goals, setting up his line mates. He's a great assist man as well. It's not just scoring, it's assist man. It's passing, it's vision, it's winning key faceoffs, it's being defensively responsible, active stick, always strong, sound positioning in the defensive zone, so he's never caught out of position. He always back checks. He helps his blue liners out. He does everything for it. Leadership in the dressing room. And then you see the kind of man he is off the ice. One of the nicest people, from all accounts, that you could ask for. Asking Tage Thompson before the opening faceoff of a Boston Buffalo game. How's your wife doing? She's been battling cancer. How is she feeling right now? He doesn't have to do that, but he did, because that's the kind of man he is. He's an incredible human being as well as an incredible hockey player. I think that's an even greater testament. We know the kind of hockey player he is, but he's a great guy off the ice. I think that says just as much, if not more.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Are you ready to break down some games?
Yeah, of course. I had, like I said before, I had 3 games that, popped out on my radar more than the other games. So I don't know if you want me to go ahead and
No, I'll lead you.
tell you
I'll
what I
lead you
have on
into
my.
it.
Okay.
I will lead you into it. So let's begin. We got the Tuesday card. We got 8 games. And we start with a dandy here. The New York Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not only is it a dandy because of both teams are surging going into this game, but the playoff history that is lurking over this hockey game tonight with these two teams. Pittsburgh minus 135, home favorites, 5.5 being the total in this game. Fascinating matchup here. We've got the Penguins rolling right now for the most part, although they did have their 7-game winning streak snapped at the hands of the Carolina Hurricanes 3-2 on Sunday afternoon. Casey DeSmith, the surprise starter for the Penguins in that game. They actually played, it was a close game. It was a, very competitive, even game. The shots were 29-25. If you looked at expected goals and high danger scoring chances in that hockey game, it wasn't a huge gap between the two teams. And it's just Carolina got, the extra goal. That is definitely something you want to keep in mind. But 7-1 for Pittsburgh in their last 8 games. The Rangers have won 7 straight games coming into tonight. I definitely like the way they've turned things around. Gerard Gallant has made some adjustments in his lineup that have made a true difference for the Rangers during this run. He's put the kid line, which was so effective for New York in their run through the Eastern Conference Final last year, putting together Philip Hedl, Alexis Lafreniere, and Capo Caco. That's that line back together again. And they have really clicked since that took place. And really, that's when the offense started to just absolutely get going for the Rangers. They've had no issues finding the back of the net during this win streak. They score 6 against St. Louis, 5 against Vegas. The one game they got held down was against Colorado, but the Avalanche, we saw a 1-0 game with them against the Islanders last night. With all the injuries, they've really tried to play a more tighter defensive style of hockey. So I think that played a part in the Rangers only scoring 2 against Colorado. Then they've scored 4 against New Jersey, a 3-1 win against Toronto, who had been playing great going into that game. And then they score 13 goals in the last 2 games against Chicago and Philadelphia combined. Now, granted, 2 of the worst teams in the NHL, but still goes without saying that the Rangers are definitely firing on all cylinders right now offensively. Defensive games improved. The power play is clicking for them. The penalty kill, which was kind of an issue during the losing streak, they've now gone 5 straight games without surrendering a power play goal, which is very good. That gives you a chance to win every night. When you're scoring on the power play and you're killing off the opposing team's power plays, Jacob will attest to this, someone that's played the game, that's going to give you a great chance to win every night when your special teams are getting the job done like they are for the New York Rangers. This is a tricky game, though, because you've got the Rangers 7-game win streak plus 115, plus 120 in this game. Don't you have to bet them here? Don't you have to take the Rangers here as an underdog? It's tough to pass up that price, but if there's any one game that the Pittsburgh Penguins, I'll say this right now, if there's any one game that the Pittsburgh Penguins have circled on their calendar, it's this one from the beginning of the season. They lost in 7 games last year to the New York Rangers in the postseason. They had a 3-1 lead in that series. The Rangers win 3 straight, and they take that series in 7 games. Jacob Trouba knocks Sidney Crosby out of that series. We remember it. It didn't sit well with Pittsburgh at all, that incident. And you could say, hey, you still got to find a way to win it. You're up 3-1. Sid out or not, you got to close the deal. You got to win that series when you have a 3-1 lead, and they couldn't get the job done. I know Pittsburgh's amped for this game. I know Pittsburgh is going to bring it tonight in this spot after losing that series in 7 games in the postseason. So I'm not stepping in front of Pittsburgh. I'd actually take Pittsburgh before New York. I'm not crazy about the price, though. I'm not crazy about putting the stop sign up. against and betting against a team that's on a 7-game win streak like the New York Rangers, especially when they're a dog, and they're catching a plus 115 price like this. But I'd lean Pittsburgh still. I think Pittsburgh's going to show up tonight in a big way. On home ice, they've been great as well. Let's not forget that. Pittsburgh 9-5 at home this year. I believe they've won 5 straight home games coming into this one. So this is a really tough game, but because the price to me is so appealing on the Rangers, having won 7 in a row with Shesterkin in net, who's also gotten his game back on track. Remember, he struggled a bit, but Shesterkin's been great. But don't sleep on Tristan Jarry. Tristan Jarry has played some of his best hockey lately for the Penguins in net. And I know Pittsburgh has definitely got this game circled, and they're been playing strong hockey at home. For that reason, I'll lean Pittsburgh, but I don't love the idea of laying a price against the Rangers. If I had to, though, would lean to the Pittsburgh side in this one. Jacob, here you go. What do you think? Rangers, Penguins.
I mean, a lot of the stuff you mentioned, I had written down too on my little notes. If you're going with Pittsburgh, I think a key point would be Chris Letang needs to contribute offensively. I feel like he's had a slow start, kind of. He's got only 2 goals and 5 assists in his last 13, which 1 goal, 2 assists in his last 2 games. So he's starting to, hopefully, this will give him a little more confidence, and maybe he can help the power play 5-on-5. And he's got a -7 ratings over the year. So I think his game is coming along. I'm sure if he starts putting up numbers like he has in the past, is going to help his team not only for this game, but in the longer run. And also Malkin's been playing at a high level also lately. And of course Crosby is having a terrific season. So I like the chance of Pittsburgh, like you mentioned. I think I didn't consider that more emotional part of the matchup where they kind of want to come back at the New York Rangers. I had the New York Rangers winning, but I'm not the expert here. So if I have to bet on the game, I'll probably follow your lead.
Don't follow my lead, my friend. If you've got an opinion, stick with your opinion. That's what we're here for. I don't bat 100% when it comes to the betting side of things. But if and you're totally forget about what I think. If you had to go with something tonight, who are you going with?
I was going with the New York Rangers. And
okay.
Also talking about defenseman Fox for the Rangers, 3 assists last game, but he had 1 point in those last 4 games. So I think it's a great matchup between the two. Which D is going to be a difference maker tonight? Fox on one side or Chris Letang on the other side? Two of the best offensive defensemen in the league, in my opinion. And 2 teams that are so close in the standings. So yeah, it's going to be a great battle tonight.
I mean, that series had a little bit of everything, of course, because you had the injury to Jarry. DeSmith was banged up. Louis Domingue had to play in that playoff series against the New York Rangers for the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's when we got that memorable interview from him, spicy pork and broccoli, not good, during the intermission of game 1 of that series. No, it's uncanny, Jacob, how the series changed totally when Crosby got KO'd by Trouba, because that was game 5. That was Pittsburgh with a 2-0 lead in game 5. That was a game if they win that game, they clinch the series, Pittsburgh. And then Crosby gets kabonged by Trouba, and Rangers come back, win game 5, and the rest is history. And then they win game 6 and 7 as well. So I have no doubt in my mind Pittsburgh's frothing at the mouth. That's the term, frothing at the mouth, for the opportunity to face the New York Rangers tonight. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but it's enough to keep me off going against Pittsburgh here in this game. This could be a good game, too, from a prop standpoint when you look at it, because there could be some penalties. There could be some, something going on with Trouba from a Pittsburgh standpoint. They're still not happy what happened in that series. And by the way, we've got, if you want to go with anybody on the kid line for the Rangers from a prop standpoint, it's worth a look. And don't sleep on Barclay Goodrow for the Rangers. He's moved up to the top line with Zibanejad and Panarin. He's collected 4 points in the last 6 games, and a goal he scored against Philadelphia as well. He's a hardworking player. He actually probably fits well with the 2 skilled guys on that line, playing with Panarin and Zibanejad. Definitely, I would look maybe at a Barclay Goodrow prop potentially in this game. Rickard Rakell's the guy for Pittsburgh. Totally undervalued. I still think Danton Heinen's going to make an impact on that second line at some point, playing with good players like Malkin and Rust. So Danton Heinen's probably a good look as well, but you can't go wrong with Rickard Rakell. That is player prop option number 1 for me here tonight in this game with Rakell. With Crosby and Gensel, he's produced. He's not nearly getting the prices that Crosby and Gensel get on that line in terms of scoring a goal, scoring a point. You get better odds, better prices with Rakell, and he has gotten 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points in the last 6 games and 3 goals during that span as well for the Penguins. So good options here in terms of the player props with Rangers and Penguins tonight. All right, Tampa Bay Lightning, Toronto Maple Leafs. We've got Toronto minus 140, home favorite, 6 the total. It's kind of the same exact situationals that we just talked about with Rangers Penguins. It's not only the Leafs, after a 7-game series loss in the first round to Tampa last year, wanting to beat this team, but they also came this close to beating them earlier this year in Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay came back and won in overtime. So the Leafs are really going to be looking forward to facing this Tampa Bay team tonight and trying to beat them. Yet this Tampa Bay team, they're rolling along. They're plus 120. You got the Leafs maybe starting to come back down to earth a bit. Are they? We know, they can be a streaky bunch at times. They had that California road trip from hell where they played some of the worst hockey you'll see. They get out of that road trip back home, and that's when that red-hot run started, the consecutive game streak with at least 1 point for the team. Mitch Marner got on that roll in terms of point-scoring streak, but now they've lost 2 in a row. So signs of cooling off potentially. They lose to the Rangers and Capitals in back-to-back games. We'll see how they fare here tonight against Tampa. Tampa, again, beating them in the playoffs in that 7-game series that was really a coin flip. It could have went either way. It was a dead-even series. It just happened. Tampa Bay scored 1 more goal than Toronto in that Game 7. And the Leafs lost in overtime 4-3 to Tampa in Tampa earlier this year. I am doing something that I've never thought I would do because, look, I'm definitely close to betting Pittsburgh against the Rangers. I don't know if I will yet. I am going to go ahead with Toronto here, even with Tampa red hot. I'm going to give them a shot here, man, to step up, man up, beat this Tampa Bay Lightning team. And I give them a better chance to do it at home because the one thing that Sheldon Keefe will have at his disposal is last line change. That's significant. I think if you look back at the series in the playoffs last year, Toronto played very well at home against Tampa. They carried the play in a lot of those games. If they don't win this, then I get worried about back in Toronto anytime soon. But one thing I know from Toronto, win or lose, you're getting them fully focused. You're getting them intense as fuck. They want to beat this team badly. They're off 2 straight losses in a row. And I just think from a Tampa Bay standpoint, before we go crazy about this great win streak they're on, let's keep in mind, Nashville stinks right now. Florida's been mediocre. Seattle's gone down again after that red-hot run, and they beat Columbus and Montreal the last 2 games. So it's not like they beat up on a bunch of really big-time teams in the last 5 games, Tampa. I respect the way they're playing. They're dangerous as hell right now with Kucherov, Stamkos, Point. They're all contributing all at the same time. But I think for Toronto, they get this one tonight. I'm taking them minus 140. What do you think here, Jacob? Tampa Bay, Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, you got the second best defense in Toronto against the third best offense in Tampa. So I think 5-on-5 is going to be a great matchup. The only thing is Toronto needs to stay off the PK. If they start giving them too many power plays, that's where they're going to get hurt. And they're missing Morgan Riley, Jake Muzzin on the backside. So they need their young core, their younger defensemen to make sure they bring their A game tonight. And I think they need to be physical on those smaller forward of Tampa. But Hagel for Tampa has also been red hot. I think he's got 5 goals in his last 5 games. Kucherov 10 points in his last 5 games. So yeah, we definitely need Marner to get back into his mojo that he had when he was on the streak. Ever since the streak was broken, I don't think he's had a point since, or in the last 2 games at least. So I was thinking Toronto too, home game, and like you said, playoffs from last year. They probably and the loss in Tampa in overtime, it was a good matchup. So I think they're gonna bring their A game tonight.
Tampa Bay 0-3 as an underdog this year. That's significant. That's important to point out. When they've been a plus price underdog this year, they're 0-3. So that tells you that people are just, whenever they see the 2-time defending Cup champions, and then, of course, not last year, but 3 years in a row to the Stanley Cup final, this Tampa Bay team, and they see the plus price next to their name, people get attracted to it. But it's better beware here. I mean, they're 0-3 as an underdog this year. So when they've been expected to lose, those rare times they've been an underdog, they've lost. This Tampa Bay Lightning team. I remember that, earlier this year, they were a dog against Boston. They lost that game, and it tells you that those rare instances when Tampa Bay is actually not the favorite, it's because they've been not the favorite for a very good reason. A, they're playing a great team, and B, maybe the spot has been in the favor of that opponent. And I feel that way tonight with the Leafs. I really do. I feel that way. The Leafs are hell-bent on finally beating this team. And look, not only, and I'm looking at the betting splits here, they're betting the hell out of Tampa Bay, the public, and yet what's the line done? It's gone nowhere. All these tickets that are being written here on Tampa Bay, and the line's not moving. It's not budging. And in fact, it opened minus 135. I'm seeing it tick up to minus 140 on Toronto. So there's some big money on Toronto here. It's kind of one of those games where the public is hammering Tampa, yet the line is going the other way. The money line price is going the other way. We don't see that very often in hockey. This is more of a football talking point when it comes to betting, or basketball. We don't usually talk about these betting split situations when it comes to hockey, but you definitely see it here, where there's a ton of tickets. Percentages of tickets are much more on Tampa Bay, and yet the line's actually moved ever so slightly up toward Toronto, minus 135 to I think it's for good reason. I think the Leafs are winning tonight against this Lightning team here. And by the way, in terms of the goaltending situation, it looks like it's Matt Murray for the Leafs. No confirmation yet. You'd expect Andrei Vasilevsky here in this one. Yeah, Pitt on a 5-game home win streak, Rich H, and 3 and 4 days. You're right. Look, Rangers look hell of attractive as an underdog. Tampa Bay looks hell of attractive as an underdog. 2 teams that were in the Eastern Conference Final, against one another last year. And I don't want either one of them. And in fact, I'd take the favorite before I take the dog in both of those games, Pittsburgh and Toronto. That's where I'm at with those 2 games tonight, including this one here. As far as the props go for this game, I do want to mention the Leafs going through some lineup changes. I'm going back to Calle Yarncroke for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's back in the lineup tonight for them, playing with Tavares and Marner. So not only back in the lineup, but back in a situation where he's getting a top 6 forward role. Great opportunity in terms of his player props tonight. Score a goal, get a point. Definitely worth a look, in my opinion. And this is a guy that I think before his recent injury was playing well. I thought Pierre Engvall might get that look on the second line. He's actually picked up his offense. If you want to go bargain bin hunting, you could go in that regard as well with Pierre Engvall. And certainly from a Tampa Bay perspective, it's the usual. Like if you're going to bet any props involving them, you start with Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, Stamkos. Don't sleep on Nick Paul either. Nick Paul has been very strong, very consistent for them this year. Great two-way player. He's gotten 3 points in the last 5 games, a goal in the last game against Montreal. It seems like whenever I recommend Nick Paul, he scores for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So that might also be worth a look too in the prop market tonight in this game. All right, Columbus, Philadelphia. We've got Philadelphia minus 180, home favorites, 6 the total in this one. I mean, it's a tough game. Columbus is struggling. Columbus is injury riddled. Columbus is on the second night of a back-to-back after losing to the Dallas Stars 2-1 last night. It's not like this is any kind of spot where I'd be loving taking them right now. Yet at the same point in time, can you lay minus 180 with the Philadelphia Flyers? No way. No way can I do that. So tough game here from a side perspective, but definitely Philadelphia has the rest advantage, 2 days off after a 6-3 loss at home to the New York Rangers. The big headlines being John Tortorella benching Kevin Hayes, of course, and yet this is a guy that actually leads the Flyers with 29 points, and yet it was a healthy scratch against the Rangers and might be benched again tonight. Hayes not happy about it. I don't think I should have been benched, but it's not my decision. He's the coach. I'm a player. He makes the lineup. He wants the best team on the ice to ultimately win, and that's what he wanted that night. Professional response from Kevin Hayes. Would you be that professional, Jacob, if a coach benched you?
I mean, to the media, yeah, but I don't know if the same conversation would be with, in the office with closed doors. But I mean, yeah, he's been a really good player for them for many years. So, of course, as a veteran player, maybe it hurts a little bit more when those type of situation happens versus when you're a younger player. You kind of expect it. So, but sometimes that's what it takes to get the message to the player. You kind of watch from above. You're kind of like pissed, and the next thing you know, you go back the next game when you play, and things happen. So it's kind of maybe more the old school hockey. But for me, I know that if it happened, I would for sure show up the next game and play with a little edge for sure.
Yeah, no question about that. Wade Allison looks like he's going to be back for the Flyers, and you're going to think, who? It's actually someone that was playing pretty well for this team before he recently got injured. So it's nice to see him back in the lineup for the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll see how he fares tonight in this one. They're continuing the experiment of Morgan Frost at the top line center spot. And to be quite honest with you, he had an explosion against Arizona when they lost to the Coyotes. 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points. He factored into every Philadelphia goal against Arizona in that game. And he scored in the last matchup for the Flyers as well, their last game against the New York Rangers. So Morgan Frost is starting to percolate a little bit. So you might be interested in him from a prop standpoint tonight. If I had to bet this game, it would be Columbus, just because it's like a dog or pass spot. It's two teams that are not good. So it's a dog or pass kind of situation for me here in this game. Danil Tarasov is back in net tonight, even though it's a back-to-back. He got the start against Dallas last night, and he played pretty well, when you look at it. 1 goal on 33 shots against him. He played very well in that hockey game, despite the 2-1 loss in that game against the Dallas Stars. And he's back in net tonight. And as Alex and I have talked about on this show, he's been the best goalie. His numbers are better than both Elvis Merzlikins, his numbers, and better than Jonas Korpisalo, his numbers. So I think Brad Larson figures keep riding this kid. He's actually given us some of our best goaltending this year, and we'll play him even on a back-to-back. Carter Hart in net for Philadelphia. Both of the games, by the way, this season went over the total with these teams, 5-2, 5-4. 2 victories for Columbus at home against the Flyers earlier this season. But it doesn't feel like 2 goalies I want to bet an over with right now, especially Tavares and Tarasov for Columbus, especially with Columbus trending under the total here in 4 straight games, not scoring necessarily a whole lot lately either. So it's a pass for me, other than just a small lean to Columbus. I will look maybe at a Frost goal prop and point prop, and I'll definitely be looking once again. If you watched the show yesterday or listened to it, I said Kent Johnson moving up to the top line center spot for the Columbus Blue Jackets in the absence of the captain, Boone Jenner. Kent Johnson taking that spot on the top line center position for the Jackets with Patrick Laine and Johnny Gaudreau. And what happens? He scores their only goal very late in the game, 15 seconds to go in the third period last night against Dallas. So the goal prop and the point prop cash. The goal prop was plus 425 on Kent Johnson last night for a guy moving up to the top line center spot, plus 130 to get a point. both of those cash in with his goal in the final seconds. He will be right back to that same position, top line center with Johnny Gaudreau and Patrick Lyon, a number one power play unit for Columbus. He'll be on that as well. You got to go right back to it. Kent Johnson score a goal prop, Kent Johnson points prop. Jacob, you'll find this out over time. One of my favorite player prop bets that you can look for is the player moving up the lineup. Someone going from the fourth or the third line to the second line or the top line. What's it mean? It means more opportunity. It means more ice time. It means playing with better players on your line. It means going onto the power play probably and getting time there and more of an opportunity to make an impact offensively. Those are good bets I find with player props, Jacob. Do you find that too? Players moving up the lineup, not only all of that, but they're motivated. They want to take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, of course. If you've been grinding on the third or fourth line, playing only PK for, 20 games, and now finally you've been putting all these hours and this hard work, and finally you get a shot at playing with top players. For sure, you show up extra, motivated, and you kind of feel like, okay, this is my time now. I can show it. And yeah, probably also the odds for these players to produce are you get a better odd from a viewing point that he's a third, fourth line. Then if you get like a top player, the odds of him producing is probably much smaller.
About that, what do you think here, Jacob? What are your thoughts on this one? Jackets, Flyers.
I mean, for me, it was more of a pass type of game, but if I have to choose,
Smart man.
I would probably go with the underdogs just because, yeah. So I would go with Philadelphia Flyers.
All right, looking at the Jackets, you mean? Jackets are the under.
Oh, the Jackets, yeah, sorry.
It's one of those games, yeah, dog or pass, exactly. When it's two teams like this that are really, like Philadelphia is the rested team. It is back-to-back for Columbus, but Philadelphia is not good enough or trustworthy enough, in my opinion, to be laying minus 180. All right, New Jersey and Carolina. Next up here, we've got Carolina minus 120, home favorites, 6 the total, shaded to the under in this game. I like the Canes here, minus 120. They've dominated New Jersey, and they're the team in much better form right now. No question about that. The Devils are in their first full-blown slump of the season. Make no mistake about it. 5 straight losses for them. Carolina, 5 straight wins for them. It looks like Sebastian Aho was going to come back tonight, but it looks like they're going to hold him out one more game at least. Lower body injury. Rod Brindamore was saying, yeah, we thought he was going to be back tonight, but like to see him get in a practice first with the team before they put him back in the lineup here in this one. Look, and plus, I want to point something out. Price comparison. I think if you're looking at this game purely from a price and a value standpoint, it's all Carolina. Because look at last year. Carolina, by the way, they've won 4 straight games at home against New Jersey. You know what the prices were in those games? Now, these were some bad New Jersey teams, I get it, but minus 280, minus 270, minus 280, minus 240, minus 260. You were laying almost minus 250, minus 260 or higher with Carolina the last few years that they've hosted New Jersey. And now the Devils have had this incredible start to the year, although they've leveled off the last, 5 games. And now all of a sudden, here's Carolina, a very cheap, in my opinion, minus 120 on home ice against the New Jersey Devils. So, and Kochetkov is a bet on goalie all the way right now. He is the real deal. I've been singing his praises, Pyotr Kochetkov. So same with Alex when he's been on the show. 9-4, 2.01 goals against average, 923 save percentage for him. Outstanding. Really in the last couple of, really he's had a great run of hockey these last 4 starts. 4 goals allowed in the last 4 starts combined against Pittsburgh, Seattle, Detroit, and the New York Islanders for Pyotr Kochetkov. You got a Carolina team surging, a New Jersey team struggling. I think you've got one of the hottest goalies in the league right now, a team that's playing shutdown defense right now. The Carolina Hurricanes, they've played great defensive hockey as a team during this 5-game win streak, shutting out the Islanders, shutting out Detroit, 2 goals allowed to Seattle, 2 goals allowed to Pittsburgh. Throw out the 5-4 win over Dallas. Yeah, they were a little worse defensively, but it was at Ronta in that game, not Kochetkov. So, yeah, Carolina for me, minus 120. What do you think here, Jacob? Devils, Hurricanes?
Yeah, I had the Canes as well, for pretty much everything you just said. New Jersey off to a hot start, but now 5 losses in a row. I think it's hard to get out of those slumps mentally. You kind of feel like as much as you can build up positive momentum, you can build up negative momentum, and I think that's where the New Jersey Devils are right now. But yeah, and they've been outscored 20-11 in that 5 game losing streak. So their defensive plays is not there. Maybe the goalie's not playing it like on top of his game. But I think Carolina, a team that kind of had a slow start, really started to hit their strides. I think they're 9-0-1 in the last 10 games. So for me, yeah, it's especially at home. Carolina is my bet.
All right, liking Carolina as well, Jacob, here in this one, -120. Yeah, incredible run. 9-0-2. Haven't lost in regulation time in 11 consecutive games, the Carolina Hurricanes. So playing really good hockey. They're rounding into form right now. It's been impressive. Now, there is there is definitely a rest advantage for New Jersey. They haven't played since the Florida game, and that was on Saturday. There's that extra game that Carolina played against Pittsburgh on Sunday. But I still think Carolina is going to be good enough to pull out this win. Again, the thing that concerns me too is New Jersey. They've stopped scoring. All of a sudden the power play's gone 3 of the last 4 games without scoring, and the power play was a big proponent of that great surge they had, that great streak. They've scored just 4 goals in the last 3 games. You don't want your offense to be scuffling. Now when you're playing a team that is absolutely rolling defensively, they've got this very confident, very, very talented young goalie, Pyotr Kochetkov, playing at a very high level right now. It's not going to be easy for the New Jersey Devils to get themselves out of the offensive doldrums here tonight in Raleigh, North Kakalaki, as they take on the Carolina Hurricanes. All right, we're going to pause just for a minute for one of our 2 sponsors, and then we'll come back and we'll break down the rest of the Tuesday NHL card. But right now, we'll hear from our sponsors, Gramco.
All right, whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta 8 products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta 8 products such as vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you, and is also available at many American retailers as well. Get the best Delta 8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. If you visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code ICEGUYS, you get 25% off of any order, and all orders on the site that are $50 and higher are shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
All right, we're back here on the Ice Guys show. Someone in the chat, you know what? I'm going to let Jacob talk first about the next game. A little change up. You're right. That's a great comment. If I was a guest on the show, that's what you meant to say. If I was a guest on the show, I wouldn't say anything because Ian gives out all info on the game. What's left for anyone to say? Ian, try going last sometime. We're going to try it. I'm always willing to give the listeners and the viewers what they want. That's what we'll try the next game. Jacobs will be a bat leadoff here on the next game, which we'll do right now. We've got the Ottawa Senators and the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg -130, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this one. I ain't saying anything. I'm just and I'm throwing away the zipper or the key or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Jacob, go for it. What do you like here? Ottawa, Winnipeg.
Well, the thing is the 3 matchup I had the most infos on we already been through, but I mean I can still give my opinion, maybe not as detailed with stats and numbers, but for me the Winnipeg Jets, I think they have a couple injuries, that they've had a good season so far, but yeah, I think the Blake Wheeler captain missing for a little while. They had a good start. Now they kind of up and down a little bit lately, but for me, I think this Winnipeg are going to take the Senators. Even though the Senators are on a hot streak, I think they won at least their last couple games. Like I said, I don't have my numbers in front of me to back me up, but for me, I think Winnipeg wins.
All right, Jacob's liking Winnipeg here, money line minus 130. I certainly wouldn't go against them in this spot. Ottawa, they were starting to play a little bit better, winning 4 in a row, lost to Minnesota 4-2 in their last game. Winnipeg losing 3-2 in regulation against Seattle on Sunday, but I honestly didn't think they played that badly. They just, hit a physical wall. They got just the legs went away from them in that game the other night. So keep that in mind for them. It was just, they hit the wall. It was a back-to-back situation. So that definitely was a concern. Riddick in net, though, has been better lately. I mean, he's not the automatic, kind of go-against guy that he once was, but Riddick was terrific. It was actually very good against Seattle, even though they lost 3-2. It was one of his better games. I still don't trust him fully. 2.77 goals against, 896 save percentage. For him, that's not bad. I'll be quite honest with you. For him, that's not bad. But definitely the over, I'm still kind of leaning that because I don't necessarily trust David Riddick to be that guy that's going to put up the brick wall 2 straight games. We talk about this too with these mediocre goaltenders, these inconsistent, sometimes often we think below average goaltenders that a lot of times when they have the great start, they don't follow it up the next time. So that is a little concerning here in this one. Might be a Senators team total overlook here potentially, but I'm all over the place with this game, as you can clearly tell, and I don't love the team total price enough to pull the trigger on it. We're talking 2.5 with the Ottawa team total at minus 160. I might look at a live over as well if it starts off with the few good game or the few minutes in the first period where there's no goals. So definitely we'll maybe look at in-game opportunities here. Definitely lean over. I always lean over with any Riddick start, but I might look for a better number, better line in-game. And as far as the props go for this game tonight, obviously for the Jets, Wheeler on IR is the big absence, but they're also without Schmidt and Stanley. That's another reason why I think the over could get there, because you've got 2 starting defensemen out for the Winnipeg Jets. That could make things possible for the Ottawa Senators to get their offense going. It won't lead; it'll make for a lesser blue line in front of David Riddick as well. But I like what I'm seeing from the big guns of Winnipeg, like Kyle Connor, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Mark Scheifele. They've all been great. Cole Perfetti as well for the Winnipeg Jets has been solid since moving on up the lineup for them. Rick Bowness has done a nice job giving some other players opportunities. Morgan Barron, for instance. It looks like Sam Gagner, by the way, second line. And look who's going to play on the top line tonight. This is the guy. This is the guy that we absolutely look at for a prop tonight. Carson Kuhlman for the Winnipeg Jets. Carson Kuhlman looks like he's going to be on the top line for Winnipeg tonight. At least the latest line combinations have Carson Kuhlman on the top line for the Jets in this game, playing alongside Mark Scheifele and Cole Perfetti. If that's the case, he's probably going to be on the top 6 at the very least. Maybe they switch it before the game starts and they put him down on the second line. But either way, he's going to get an opportunity to showcase himself at the very least in a top 6 forward role, maybe even the top line for the Jets tonight. And you could get, obviously, the price for him. I'm going to bring it up right now on the screen. Yeah, wow. Plus 650 at Caesars to score a goal tonight for Carson Kuhlman. I mean, you got to pounce on that. You got to bet it, win or lose. You see someone that's going to get that opportunity, first line or second line role, and they're going to be plus 650 to score a goal. You got to bet it. You got to put something on, even if it's just a few bucks. You definitely got to look in that direction. Carson Kuhlman here for the Winnipeg Jets tonight in this game. All right, St. Louis Blues, Seattle Kraken. We've got Seattle minus 165, home favorites, 6 the total, shaded to the under in this game. Martin Jones confirmed in net for the Seattle Kraken. St. Louis on a back-to-back after steamrolling Vancouver 5-1 last night. The man of the hour last night was Jordan Kyrou, a hat trick plus 1 assist for St. Louis, a 4-point night, an outstanding performance. The guy has 9 points in the last 3 games. He is unconscious right now for St. Louis. 6 goals, 9 points in the last 3 games. Unfortunately, he left that game with an injury, and he might not play tonight for the St. Louis Blues. So that is a shame. He's going to be a game-time decision, it looks like, day-to-day game-time decision tonight for the Blues, whether he plays. I mean, that's 9 points in the last 3 games out of your lineup, and he's been the catalyst for this little surge that the Blues have had offensively here in the last few games. So I worry about the Blues tonight on a back-to-back, especially if Kyrou does not play in this game tonight for them. He's just been such a big component of what they've been able to do offensively, no question about that. As for Seattle, they got a 3-2 win against Winnipeg in their last game. Again, they've cooled off a little bit, but they were 1-5 in their last 6 games before the win against Winnipeg the other night. So we'll see if they can keep it going. You've got the Blues that are one of the streakiest teams, Jacob, in the NHL this year. They've had 10-game win streaks. They've had 10-game losing streaks. They have been one of the streakiest teams in the entire league this year. When they're on a win streak, you ride them. When they're on the losing streak, you fade them and you bet against them. They've been a fairly easy team to figure out. So I'm off the side. It's a Seattle spot advantage, but I'm not laying minus 165 against a team that's on a 4-game win streak. But I don't like St. Louis on a back-to-back enough to take them, especially if Kyrou doesn't play. And even with the total in this game, it could go back and forth with that. 3 of the 4 meetings between these teams have gone under the total. We'll have to see who's in net. Jones for Seattle. It's not someone I trust. It kind of has me leaning over every time I see him in net. If it's Grice for St. Louis, I'm not a big fan of his play this year or last year for that matter. So I'd lean over. But again, I'm waiting to see the lineup confirmations on both sides. I think if I were to bet anything in this game, it would be the over. What do you think here, Jacob, St. Louis, Seattle?
Well, going a little bit like you, it's kind of a pass game also for me, but yeah, like you said, St. Louis is a streaky team. Yeah, they're off to a back-to-back, but if I had to pick a team to win, I think St. Louis. I think Kyrou is going to be in the lineup. That's my opinion. I have no information or anything, but for me, that would be my decision.
Yeah, I mean, if he's in, I'm definitely going to look at the over because he has been definitely the main cog offensively for St. Louis during the last 3 games, no question. He has been the guy that's been getting it done for the St. Louis Blues. As far as the props go for Seattle, Eberle had a very good game against St. Louis. He can be a streaky player sometimes, but it looks like he might be someone to consider here in terms of a player prop option in this game. What else have we got in terms of Seattle here? It looks like we've got, I always say, Matty Beniers. They've got Oliver Bjorkstrand moving on up, it looks like, to the top line for the Seattle Kraken. Now, he struggled, so maybe this is Dave Haxtell playing a hunch. Maybe we put Bjorkstrand with Wenberg and Jaden Schwartz on the top line. He'll get going. So if you want to take a flyer on a good offensive player that's been struggling, but now is going to get an opportunity on the top line, maybe you could go in that direction with Bjorkstrand for the Seattle Kraken. But we'll see if he can take advantage of that opportunity tonight as they take on the Blues. All right, we have 2 games left. Next up, we've got Calgary and San Jose. Calgary minus 175, road favorites here. 6 the total, shaded to the under. It's the same 2 teams playing each other for the 2nd consecutive game in the same venue. Has that ever happened to you, Jacob? You played the same team in the same building twice in a row? Have you ever done that?
Not really, not that I can remember. But you do, and especially in North America, you would play the same teams quite a bit, especially in the minor leagues. So sometimes you can play, yeah. But I don't think I've played back-to-back against the same team there. Usually if you do a back-to-back, you do home and then away or vice versa.
Yeah, I find that this is happening in the NHL more, Jacob, lately. We've seen this happen a couple times, and the NBA has done it a lot this year, where it's the same 2 teams in the same building, playing each in the same city, playing each other 2 times in a row. It's happening here because Calgary beat San Jose 5-2 on Sunday night in San Jose. They'll look to duplicate that feat here in this game. You know what I feel about these situations where it's the same 2 teams playing each other. Natural inclination is you want to bet on the team that lost the first game in the second game. But I don't like doing that when I find there's a mismatch. I don't like doing that when I find that one team is better than the other. And to me, Calgary, roster-wise, if you just grade out the roster, you grade out the personnel, Calgary's a lot better than San Jose. And I wouldn't be looking against – and I think Calgary has to try to stop this bullshit with win one, lose one, win one, lose one. You've got to start putting wins together, multiple wins together. You can't just lose one and then lose a couple after that. They've snapped the 5-game losing streak with that win against San Jose. I would only look at the Flames in regulation. Flames team total, full game over. It's basically the same stuff I recommended on Sunday on the show. I said I like the Flames team total over 3.5. I like the full game over. I would look in those two directions once again. And I would certainly consider maybe putting some on the full game over too, because it's back. It's Jacob Markstrom in net. He was very good against San Jose. Bounce back start for him after the St. Louis game. But man, he has been the poster child for one good start and then back to a rotten start. So let's see if he can put 2 good starts in a row together. It hasn't happened a lot lately. So that's why I think you got to include the full game over 6 as part of your betting process here in this game with the Flames and the Sharks. So I'll probably spread the wealth, pepper it around a little bit in this game with 3 smaller scale bets, a little bit on Calgary regulation, a little bit on Calgary team total over, and a little bit on the full game over as well. What do you think here, Jacob? Flames and Sharks?
I see here that Thomas Hertl is suspended.
Yes,
I don't know if
and
it's
that's a big
correct.
loss. Yep, it
I mean,
is.
there you got your first line center suspended. So for me, yeah, like you said, you have a tendency to want to bet for the team who lost the first matchup because they want to bounce back. But I mean, if Calgary come out like you say, you need a good start from the goalie. And I mean, I think for me, Calgary is going to come on top again.
And they have done well against San Jose. Let's look at the series history, but it's been pretty good for Calgary. They've won the 2 in a row. Actually, you know what? Last year, San Jose gave them some tough times, but this they won earlier this year. They won Sunday. They won the last meeting last year, starting to build some momentum. Calgary's actually done better in San Jose against the Sharks than they've done at home against them. So, again, we'll have to see who's in net, but someone's saying Dan Vladar tonight. No, I've got Jacob Markstrom confirmed as the goalie tonight. So I'm pretty sure of that. Yeah, it's Markstrom. It's Markstrom and it's James Reimer for San Jose in net tonight. And look, Kaapo Kakkonen has not been good. Kaapo Kakkonen has been Kaapo Kaka lately in net for the San Jose Sharks. So to go with James Reimer tonight, I'm not saying Reimer's a whole hell of a lot better, but 2.87 goals against, 907 save percentage. He's actually only given up 2 goals in his last each of his last 2 starts. Wins against LA and Arizona. We'll see how he fares here in this one tonight against. Actually, it was a loss, I should say, against LA 3-2, but he only gave up 2 goals in that start. So he's been a little bit better than Kakkonen, but let's see how he fares here against a Calgary team. I think Calgary's due to get on a run where the offense gets going, and I think we saw signs of it for the Flames in that last game against the Sharks. As far as the prop market goes for this game, Nick Bonino is moving up to that center spot for the San Jose Sharks. It looks like in the absence of Hertl, he's the value. He's the one you might want to target from a goal prop or a point prop standpoint tonight. If you're San Jose, you've got Nick Bonino, who is plus 410 in some spots to score a goal. I think that might be worth a look. For Calgary, I'm going to repeat it again because I find power play point to score a point and to score a goal, the value is with Dylan Dubé right now. As he continues to get a ton of ice time, he has gotten confidence of his coach, Daryl Sutter. He keeps putting him out there on the top line with Tyler Toffoli and I think it's Mangiapane as well on that top line. No, it's Lindholm and Toffoli with Dubé on that top line. He keeps giving Dubé all these minutes and more power play time, and it's because he is definitely making the most of it. So I'm going to keep on preaching to the choir about Dylan Dubé for great value in the prop market right now for the Calgary Flames. Don't even sleep on Lucic either. Lucic moved up to the second line on Sunday, and he scored a goal, and it was the first goal he scored of the season against San Jose, and getting a top 6 opportunity, top 6 forward role. We don't think of Milan Lucic as the goal scorer. He never was a big goal scorer, but at least he scored a little bit earlier in his career. Lately, not so much. More of that physical, forecheck, pound someone through the glass type of player. But, he's still got that ability to just get to the net, score those dirty goals, if you will, when he gets the ice time.
He just powers through the goalie's 5-hole. Usually, that's
Yeah,
how he scored most of his goals lately, at least.
exactly. That's his patented move, is just drive to the net and just try to get there with just old-fashioned hard work and elbow grease and brute strength. That's what he uses, Milan Lucic, to score goals. So, you know what it's like sometimes. You get that first goal, and all of a sudden a couple more goals follow you around after that. So maybe Lucic finds the back. Maybe I'll put a couple bucks on his prop as well in this game tonight. All right, final game of this Tuesday card. It is the Anaheim Ducks and the Los Angeles Kings. Not the San Jose Sharks. That graphic is wrong. I was going to say we got to change that. It's the Los Angeles Kings hosting the Anaheim Ducks. We've got the Kings minus 260, home favorites 6.5 the total in this game. Anaheim, I'm telling you what, all Lucas Dostal for them beating Edmonton 4-3 on Saturday afternoon. Believe it or not, that's 2 wins in a row for the Anaheim Ducks. But I'm not betting them here. I'm not. Every single time I try to buy into this team that, hey, they've won a game. Oh, they've won 2 in a row. And I want to bet them and say, hey, maybe they're going to turn a corner. They never have gotten it done for me, Anaheim, in these situations, just when you start to believe. And I'm not doing it. I'm not falling into that shit. Again, not doing it with this Anaheim Ducks team again. Although they have won 2 in a row, but let's be honest, that Edmonton game they should have lost. They were outshot 49-17. It was a theft of 2 points, a thievery, a robbery of 2 points by Lucas Dostal, who was just absolutely phenomenal in net for the Anaheim Ducks in that game. So it's no shock whatsoever, especially with Stolarz on IR and John Gibson also banged up. Undisclosed injury day to day, that Lucas Dostal will be the goaltender again tonight for Anaheim. Not a shock at all, because look, the Gibson. Even if Gibson was healthy, I don't think they'd go away from starting Lucas Dostal tonight based on the way he played against Edmonton. He was spectacular. I mean, you can't say enough about how good he was. He made several, in terms of degree of difficulty saves, 1 to 10, 10 being the most difficult. He had 5 of them, 5-10 rating saves, in that third period against Edmonton to preserve the lead and preserve the win. He was magnificent. But can he do it again? We are talking about a young goalie off one of the best starts he's ever had in his career. Sometimes they play well the next game, and sometimes they fall flat and they don't play anywhere close to as good. So what is it going to be for Dostal tonight? LA has won 2 in a row, Boston, and then they came back home after the road trip and they beat the Sharks 3-2. They've had a good amount of time off. Both teams have. So it's not really a big scheduling advantage either way. Anaheim continues this road trip. They've been on the road for a while though now, right? Ottawa, Toronto, the Eastern time zone, Montreal as well. Then they go to Alberta. Now they go to the Pacific time zone, and the miles are starting to add up for Anaheim. So how much gas is going to be in their tank is going to be the question here. But this is a game I'm probably going to pass on, and I hate doing that. I don't say pass on a game very often as a high volume bettor, but this one's kind of tricky. I mean, I want to see how Dostal looks early in the game. This is more of a live betting potential situation for me before I bet anything pregame here in this game. It is worth noting, too, LA's won 3 straight meetings. It's actually been more of an under series history. In fact, the under has cashed 6-2-1 to the under in the last 9 meetings between these two teams. Anaheim's gone over the total in 3 straight games. LA's gone under the total 5 of their last 6. If Dostal is anywhere close to as good as he played the other night, and I haven't bet a lot of Kings unders or haven't leaned to the under very much with LA lately, this might be the spot I might lean under in this game. What do you think here, Jacob? Final game of the night, Ducks and Kings.
I mean, for me, it would probably be a pass as well. But, I mean, like you said, the question mark on the goalie situation for the Ducks. LA, yeah, I mean, I think they have a good team, but maybe not as consistent on scoring. So for me, I think I would have to make a small bet on Anaheim. But other than that, is just to not pass on the game and to say now what I would do. But I think Anaheim for me for tonight.
There you go. You got to lean Anaheim or nothing. That's the way I always feel, even though it feels plus 220 with the goalie that was great. If he's anything close to that last night, they could be live in this game, and you're getting plus 220. But I can't pull the trigger, and I won't. Every time I start to think, here's Anaheim getting on a run, turning their season around, goes right down the drain again for them. I remember I bought in Jacob. They beat Carolina. And then the next game against San Jose, I'm like, maybe I'll take them against San Jose. They're going to get on a roll. And they got whipped 6-1 at home by the San Jose Sharks. I'm like, serves me right trusting this team. There's been way too much mediocrity, way too much inconsistency, Jacob, for me to trust them.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's probably a pass, to be honest. But
yep, no question about that. I will say this, though, in terms of that game, Maxime Comtois, keep an eye on him. He's come back lately. He was a very good offensive player for them before his injury. He might offer up some value for them in the prop market. For LA, if I were to bet anything for their props tonight, you look at who's been getting it done for them lately. Kempe's been terrific. Fiala's starting to get it going since he's been with Kopitar and Kempe. Trevor Moore. Alex Iafallo, by the way. Important to talk about him. He has just been back recently for the Kings, and it looks like they're going to put him on the second line tonight to try to get him going a little bit. So maybe a little value with his props tonight as well for the LA Kings. All right, great stuff. That is the Tuesday card. Great job by Jacob Lagace, our guest here today on the show for the very first time. How do you feel? How did you think you did? I think you did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun to just talk hockey and hear about opinions on bets and stuff. And I'm just happy that you got me on the show. And if you need me sometime down the line, feel free to ask. I'll gladly join again. And best of luck to the bettors out there listening and watching us.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And we're not done yet, though. We still have to get a best bet from you, Jacob, before we wrap up the show. So think about it for a minute, because we're going to do a break in just a second. Our second sponsor, Manscaped, will play that ad in just a second. So you get some time to think about your best bet. In the meantime, I do want to remind everybody, hit the like button, 213 live viewers. We appreciate it. And check out patreon.com/iceguys. It's just $10 a month. The daily betting card is posted there. Goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, and more. We've got a lot more bonus content planned in the new year. So check it out, patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. And we will get to best bets in just a second before we wrap up the show. But first, we'll hear from our other sponsor, our good friends at Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, our good friends at Manscaped, who are the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, courtesy of the Ice Guys. Get 20% off of any purchase and free worldwide shipping with the promo code Ice Guys. That's promo code Ice Guys, all one word, ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 400 million balls that you can help preserve with manscaped.com using the promo code Ice Guys. You get the Performance Package 4.0. It is a game changer. The Lawnmower 4.0. It takes care of this, among other things. It'll keep you trim as can be. The Lawnmower 4.0, waterproof. Same thing with the Weed Whacker, which takes care of your ear hair, nose hair. I mean, nose hair in particular. I'm getting up there in age, and nose hair is becoming definitely more of an issue. This will take care of it. It feels like someone's tickling the inside of your nostrils sometimes. It pisses the hell out of me. It bothers me. I need to take care of that shit. This will take care of it for you. The Weed Whacker makes part of the package that you get with your Manscaped purchase, and the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. You also get the ball toner. You also get the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good and looking good and feeling good down in the nether regions. This package is really going to make you feel good and look good and look better, slim, trim. That's what it's all about. And manscaped.com can help you out with that. So make sure you take advantage of this. Manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code Ice Guys at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the promo code Ice Guys. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, we're back here on the Ice Guys show. It is time for best bets. Jacob, first ever Ice Guys best bet. What do you got?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what a best bet is, but for me, if I have
favorite pick, top play.
So then I would say the one I'm more confident in getting right is probably Carolina versus New Jersey, that Carolina is going to win. So for me, I think that would be a bet that I'm most confident in winning.
There you go. Carolina. I like that one too. Carolina minus 120 against New Jersey. Jacob Lagace, best bet on the show. And my best bet for this card, I'm doing it, man. Toronto Maple Leafs minus 140 against Tampa. They're going to win tonight. They're going to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning finally. And it's just got that feel for me. They're saying the right things. Couple losses in a row. You come back home. We know the Toronto A game has been good enough to beat good teams this year. This reminds me of early in the year. The Leafs were playing Boston at home. Boston couldn't be beaten, at that time. And Toronto won at home against the Boston Bruins earlier this year. This is what this sounds like to me. And Tampa Bay, for as great as they're playing right now and the win streak that they're on, a lot of it's come against Sisters of the Poor, weaker competition. I think they're up against it tonight. Leafs minus 140 for my best bet here for this Tuesday NHL card. Jacob, awesome job. It was a blast having you on the show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll definitely get you back on the show, no question about that, in the new year. Merci beaucoup de nous avoir rejoints dans l'émission The Ice Guys. How about that?
Wow.
What do you think
Good
of that?
French. That's perfect. I like it.
Thank you very much for joining us on The Ice Guys. That's essentially what I said. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacob Lagace joining us. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. A reminder, The Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For our special guest, Jacob Lagace, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Wednesday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.